completed our 3 sessions of this course, and today we are going for the fourth one, which is a very interesting topic. This is about the one who have made this presentation, Radhesham sir. Okay, so the topic for today's device is anybody can guess or anybody knows what is the topic? Okay, no problem. So the topic is the science of soul. This will be our today's topic. Uh, I'll just give you a brief background. Shivam sir, you can stay in this slide only. So I'd just like to give you a brief background of what you have studied in especially device 3. So in device 3, we have covered the ways of gaining knowledge. Mainly, there are 3 ways of gaining knowledge, and out of those 3, which one is superior? The most means the best way of gaining knowledge is most authentic way. Which one is that? That is Shabda Praman. Okay, okay, experience. Fine, it was one of the way, but Shabda Praman is the best way of gaining knowledge. And we have learned one example also in that if you want to know about your father, then what is the best way to know about your father? That is to know from your mother. Okay, so in continuation of that, we learned that Vedas are compared to our mother, and if we want to know about our father, means our origin, so we have to consult Vedas. Okay, and when we read Vedas, we can know about our father. That is the best way of knowing about our father. Okay, so now moving forward of this device 3, this device is specially related to the difference between soul and body. Now there are various subtopics in this device, which just quickly we'll be seeing. So these are all the subtopics. First, am I matter or am I spirit? Second, 6 changes of the living body. Third, scientific proofs for existence of an anti-material personality. Then mechanism of reincarnation, difference between soul and God, and practical benefits of knowledge of soul in everyday's life. So first, I would like to just brief about what is the aim and objective of this device session, so that after seeing all these topics, you will be you should be able to answer all these questions. First thing is the most important thing, that who are we? Either we are this body, which is made of matter, or we are soul. So this should be the first question, whose answer after covering the whole device session, you all should be confident in giving this answer. So this will be our first thing. Second thing, uh, you should be able to clearly differentiate between body and soul. So we'll be having a particular section in this presentation only, in which we'll be telling you what is the difference between soul and body. So you should be able to differentiate between that. So that will be our second objective. And then our third objective will be what is difference between God and soul. So that will be the third objective of our session. So after covering this device 4, science of soul, you should be able to answer these 3 questions specially. So there will be many examples coming in this presentation. So those examples are meant for facilitating the concept only. So if you have any doubt, you can just note down in your notebooks, and then after the session, we'll give you some time so you can ask. Okay, so now we are going to start. First topic, who are we? Any answer from your side? Who are we? Or who are you? Soul, students, okay. Any other answer? Okay, fine. So both are correct. We are students also and we are soul also. So we'll see who are we. Shivam sir, can we move? Ah. So this is just a analogy which is given to prove that point. We are moving in that. You just remember what topic we have taken. In that topic only these examples are coming. So by seeing these different slides, you should not be bewildered that what we are means this example is related to what. So that's why I'm just focusing on the main thing, and then these all are the examples. So we are taking who are we. So mainly we can be body also or we can be a soul also. So mainly in between these two, who are we? So we want to analyze this thing. है ना? So there was a doctor named Harry Monson who was a professor in anatomy and in Illinois College of Medicine. He have done his PhD. This Illinois comes in, it's a state in USA only. So his research was mainly about human body. So what was his research specifically? That he found out that in a 60 pound person, approximately it corresponds to around 27, 28 kgs. So in 28 kgs person, what is the constituent of different chemicals? He just did a simple research in this. So this was the constitution of chemicals: 3 pounds of calcium and a half of phosphorus, 6 ounces of sulfur, sodium, and all these things. These were the constituents in a 60 pound or approximately 28 kgs person. So, okay, now what was the conclusion out of this research? So, this Dr. Harry found that if you just, based on the constitution, you just calculate the cost of these all chemicals, then aggregate cost will come out to be how much? Rupees 110, 110 rupees. Now you tell me, if if we are saying that we are this body means if we want to say that there are many scientists who say that we are a composition of chemicals. Now, if we are a composition of chemicals, it means that our cost is only 110 rupees. Correct? Yeah, somebody saying that 110 is 1 liter petrol. So that is our cost. Now, if I want to buy somebody, so I can just pay 110 rupees and I can buy that person. So is it like that? Or a simple example I'll give you that if you are driving a car, okay, this example is going to come in coming slides also, but still I'll give you this one now. That if you are driving a car and you or your friend is driving a very expensive car, and in that expensive car, unfortunately, it came means it met with an accident. So what you will do? You will save the car, which is around Mercedes Benz, say 1 crore rupees, or you will save the person, your friend sitting in the car. Cost wise, if you compare 110 rupees person and 1 crore Mercedes, so I think you should save the car, because logically you should think, you should not be sentimental. Okay, so you all know the answer, but logically we'll try to convince you in coming slides. Okay, Shivam sir, we can move ahead. So this thing should be clear to you that we are not just the composition or the combination of chemicals, because our worth is not only 110 rupees. We are much more than that. Now, who are we? This, uh, what is our real identity? So this is just a simple uh, analogy given of an actress. You all might be knowing her. So she was a beauty queen, and when she committed suicide, so you can see the difference between her face before and after death. So there is some difference, na? Actually, there is much difference. So how that difference is coming? Body is there, both are bodies only, but soul is gone. And something is gone. That's why this difference is coming. So that something is soul. An example one from Bhagavad Gita is given Lord Krishna says Arjuna that for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. This is from Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. Na? So, in simple words, soul is eternal. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primal. He is not slain when the body is slain. Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. है ना? One another. Okay, this was the first objective of this presentation, which I was telling you, that we'll be able to know what is the difference between body and soul. So you just as a recap, we are moving into the subtopic of this presentation, that who are we? We are body or soul. In that subtopic, we are covering all these things. Okay, we saw that we are not, we means our worth is not only 110 rupees, it is much more. So that example we saw, and now we are seeing the difference between body and soul. So small differences will come. This slide is very important. You can note down also if you want. Body is matter, soul is spirit. Matter means which is made up of 5 elements. You all know this. What are those 5 elements? Earth, water, air, fire, and ether. So these 5 elements constitutes matter. Spirit. Spirit means which is beyond these 5 elements. Now, what is the constitution of spirit? How spirit is made? That will come in coming session. Body is not conscious. You all know this. Soul is conscious. Body undergo changes and soul doesn't undergo changes. What changes body undergo? That is the second topic of this presentation. Body is temporary and soul is eternal. Very true. Body is like a dead matter and soul is living. Okay, so anybody have any doubt in all these 5 points? Because this is a very important, one of the most important presentation, one of the most important slide of this presentation. You should be confident in this. And this is one of the objective of this whole uh, device course also, that you should be able to understand the difference between body and soul. Okay, so thank you. We'll move ahead. So now this point should be clear to you, that we are not this body which you see in mirror, as an example is given. We are a spirit soul, which is the driver of the bodily car. Now, and a very interesting analogy will come. That is of a car and a driver, which is compared to body and a soul. We'll see it in a presentation way also. Material viewpoint. We are bodies made up of matter. Now, a comparison of material view and spiritual view is given. Material view says that we are bodies made up of matter. We are no more than chemical bundles, and everything is finished at the time of death. Now, what is the spiritual complement of this? We are not the material body of flesh and bones. We are spirit soul engaged in the material body. We do not die when material body stops to function. Okay, so this small points you can just. Okay, my voice is lagging. Some issues there in voice. Okay, so I try to keep my fine. I'll keep my mic little closer, so a little more clear. Okay, thank you. So I try to keep it closer. It will be more clear now. Okay, so moving ahead, this was our first topic. That who are we? So the answer is we are spirit soul, and we saw the difference between body and soul also. Now that analogy which I was telling just one slide back, that this body and soul can be compared to a driver and a car. Now car can be compared to what? Body or soul? Any answers? It's just an analogy. Okay. Car is body. Thank you. Uh, and so this driver will be who? Soul. Obviously. So now one example of Mercedes and your friend also I gave you. You might remember that. So in that example also, this Mercedes or car can be compared to our body, and the driver is the soul. Now, if you do repair and maintenance and everything to your car, and you don't focus on the driver only, so will this car be of any use? No. Why? Because we are not focusing on the real person who is the driver. Correct. Now see, car also have headlights, person also have eyes, then sound, then energy is coming from heart and it is coming from engine. Just a comparison is given. The car cannot budge 1 inch without a driver. The body is termed dead without the presence of driver, the soul. Okay, very important thing, that body is of no value without the soul. Just as the bird is trapped in the cage, the soul is trapped in the body made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. This you all. In case you are feeling any doubt, because this presentation is a bit longer presentation, so I will be considering very few specific topics and concepts only, so that after the presentation, whatever objectives we discussed, that should be fulfilled. And there are many examples which will come. Those examples which you are able to remember, that is very good. Otherwise, you can just keep a note of it. Afterwards, you can just revise. A very good example is given of a parrot and a cage. Now this lady is having this parrot, and she's daily polishing that cage and taking care of that cage so nicely. She have bought a golden cage also for the parrot, but she is not feeding that parrot. She is not giving anything to the parrot to eat. Now, will that thing will be useful? Parrot will die after some time. Okay, so in this example, parrot is compared to soul, and that cage is body. So if you take care of body only and you are not taking care of the parrot, real parrot, which is the soul, then it is of no use. Next. First topic we covered, am I spirit or am I body, or who are we? Next topic, 6 changes of the living body. There are 6 changes which occurs in a body that we'll be discussing. Okay. Is man not a powerful computer or robot? See, I'm telling you again and again that just keep a track of whatever topics we are discussing. In those topics, these all examples and many things will come. So don't get bewildered by seeing all these examples. These examples are just to supplement the main topic. Okay. So one by one, we'll be discussing in quickly all these examples also. We are moving in the topic 6 changes of the body. Is man not just a powerful computer or robot? Now, a comparison is given of a camera and a human being or a judge. A camera is also judging, and a human being as a person is also judging. What is the difference? Anybody have any answer? A camera is also judging a show, and judges as a person is also judging. So, what will be the difference between these two? Any difference will be there? Okay, I think question is not clear. So, yeah, thank you. Now I think question is clear. Yeah, thank you. So, so many things. Camera don't have feelings. They cannot complain. They cannot express their emotions. Okay. So these all things are there. No experience. No emotions. no consciousness, then conscious, then no judging and able to judge. Okay, these all are the difference. Very interesting conversation between one Swamiji and a person. Swamiji, I think our body is just a complex machine that gets worn out and crashes. Why should we bother about some soul powering the body? Very genuine question, which many of you might have. है ना? Even I also had the same thing. That why should we bother about soul so much? Body is only so complex to understand. And even if it wants or crashes out, everything will be finished. Why to bother about the soul? Now, what is the reply of Swamiji? Does your car or computer grows? Do you have a male and female car that can unite and produce a baby car? A living body undergoes six changes, whereas matter just depreciates. It is the soul that makes living body alive. Okay, there is a soul which is present in this bodily cage. That soul is causing this body to undergo these six changes. So the soul is making the body alive. Important point. Next. As a science student, you might be curious to know this thing. That there are what are the differences between a living body and a robot? Actually, in the year 1996, there were many scientists who claimed that by the end of that decade, that particular decade, will be able to make humanoids who will be just like a human beings. Like one humanoid will can combine with another humanoid, and one child humanoid will also come. So they claimed that they'll be able to do in the coming few years. But till now, we see that nothing like humanoid have come, and it will not come also. है ना? So there are some difference between a living body and a robot. What are they? A living body undergoes six changes, while matter only dwindles or depreciates. Second, a male and female can multiply similar species. Machines can't reproduce by union. This we discussed. Living body has consciousness, thinking, feeling, and willing, while matter has no consciousness. Okay. What are the now the main thing of this topic? What are these six changes? First, birth, then growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, dwindling, and death. These are the six changes which occurs in a body. You can just note down it and keep just try to remember it. Very important thing. Now, how I'll just try to explain. Birth. You all know that every person takes birth, or every living entity takes birth. Then it grows. You grows. Your body grows. Then you have to maintain it for some time. Then from your body, some byproducts will be emitted. Many things are there. Like a person can produce a child, that is also a byproduct, and sweat is also a byproduct. Many things are there. Then dwindling, body will dwindle gradually from adult. You will dwindle to old age, and then finally death. So these are the six changes which occurs in a body. These all things we are telling from scriptures only. We have taken this information from scriptures and presented it in a scientific way. That is what this course is meant for. Discover yourself. Because it is not very difficult to understand all these things. Now this is one of the most important point. that what are the different kinds of bodies and where this soul resides actually. Soul is covered by gross and subtle bodies. Now, gross bodies, what are the constituents? Earth, water, air, fire, ether. I told you. है ना? This you all know. Inside that gross body, there is a subtle body. This many of you might not know. There are three components or three constituents of subtle body. They are called as mind, intelligence, and ego. Man, buddhi, or ahankar. These are the constituents of subtle body. And then inside that subtle body, there is a soul. So now you can understand that what you see or what we can see is only gross body. Inside that gross body, there is a subtle body, mind, which comprises of mind, intelligence, and ego. And inside that subtle body, there is a soul. Now, actually, the living force is what? Gross body is matter. It have no life. So ultimately, the life is coming from the inside soul, which is giving life to this subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. Now, if you see, actually, both this gross and subtle body, both of these bodies are material. Both can be categorized. That's why they are called as subtle body is also called as a body. They are material, but spirit or soul is spiritual. If you want to categorize between material and spiritual, okay, just simply you can remember this. And if I'll not go more deep because you will be confused otherwise, but just gradually we'll discuss. For now, you can just remember this picture in your mind. Okay. Next, this is the characteristic of soul which is given. Okay, I'll just tell you. No need for going back. Uh, there are three characteristics of soul, which is known as Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Eternal, eternity. Sat means eternal or avinashi, which cannot be destroyed. Chit means full of knowledge, and Anand means full of bliss. Okay, so these are the three characteristics of soul. Means wherever soul is there, these three things will be there. Like you say, characteristic of a person or a flower. Like I can say the fragrance is the characteristic of a flower. Like that. These three were the characteristic of soul. So now moving to our third point. We have covered 2 points till now, two topics, subtopics till now. First was who are we? The answer was we are soul. Second, six transformations in a body: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, dwindling, and death. Moving to the third topic, scientific proofs for existence of anti-material personality, or in simple words, scientific proofs for soul. Very important. Uh, I can say it as a common sense or analogy that who are these persons, that when a person dies, we say she has passed away. But who has passed away? This her body is still there. Actually, soul has passed away. Correct? Yes, thank you. So this point also proves that we are not this body, we are soul. Consciousness. Camera is saying I can see red light. This is just like the example which we saw, the difference between judge and camera. Consciousness means to be aware of thinking, feeling, and willing. Now, consciousness, whenever you see or you see this word consciousness, you should immediately say these three characteristics will be there: thinking, feeling, and willing. Okay. Wherever these three things are there, it means it is conscious. So it is these three things are there in a person. It means he is a conscious person. Consciousness is there. What are we discussing? Scientific proofs of existence of soul. So these are all scientific proofs. Now a very important concept of NDE and OBE will come. Means near death experience, NDE, and out of body experience, OBE. a small video for all of you. Uh, sh- just will see that video. One of the uh, most important concept which have been researched upon so much. इस टॉपिक पे इतना ज्यादा रिसर्च हुआ है आप ये वीडियो आप लोग देखिए इसके बाद
In Germany, Christina's doctors are also losing their battle. Her heart will not restart. She has just minutes before her brain too shuts down.
Es wurden Defibrillationsschocks.
We were trying to jumpstart her heart with a defibrillator.
Zum Schlagen zu bringen. Gleichzeitig
And we gave her several drugs.
Seite mehrere Medikamente. Die Patientin hatte zu viel Blut.
The patient lost too much blood. Her organs weren't getting enough.
Wo kein Mensch und ich am wenigsten
We really didn't think we could save her.
erfolgreich sein können.
Because Christina's heart has stopped pumping, many would consider her dead. Yet something seems to be happening with her mind.
Das nächste, was ich wieder weiß, ist, ja, dass ich wohl unter der Decke...
Next thing I know, I was hovering underneath the ceiling of the room. I could see down on myself laying on the operating table. And I saw the surgeons and heard them talking to each other. The scenario was pretty hectic. I realized about life or death.
To help understand near-death experiences, some researchers focus on the content of these episodes.
A common element that occurs early in near-death experiences is what's called an out-of-body experience. At that time, the person seems to be able to see and hear things going on, but up from the vantage point above their body.
In Germany,
So interesting video. It was about near death experience. that lady was able to see, means she explained whatever those doctors were doing something in her body. So why, means she was lying in bed, how she was able to explain this? Because there is an existence of, it proves that there is an existence of subtle body and soul. Okay. Similarly, there is a concept of out of body experience also, which is somewhat related to this entity only, but it means that simply like one article came about this about 1 or 2 decades before. I just heard in one lecture that that article stated that what is this out of body experience, that if a person is lying on bed and you just keep few things in like ceiling or something, over ceiling you are keeping a few things, and that person in from that bed he is not able to see those things, but after some time they have realized that, means that person was in that situation, in that position only, but when they told that person to draw whatever is there in ceiling, so he was able to draw exactly what is there in that ceiling. So actually it is out of body experience, which is there in 11 to 14% of the people of America, as it is mentioned here. Very interesting thing. Enough research, as I was telling you, have been done in this field. Research on eternal soul, 30 years, surgeon Dr. Law. Doctor have performed research of in about, means for about 30 years on this soul. Will not see this video because we are having a little less time. If somebody is interested, he can just contact us later. So we'll share this video. These are all the whatever researches, on the basis of those researches, these all books have been written. Somebody have interest, so he can just try to read these. Fine. So we are just discussing the scientific explanations or proofs of existence of soul. Another very important thing, which almost every Indian somewhat believes, but nobody have any scientific explanation. So this is known as Punarjanma or reincarnation. This is the person standing on the left is a very famous person. His name is Dr. Ian Stevenson, the professor of psychiatry, the University of Virginia, again a state from US. He have done almost to this is a previous data. Almost till now, he have done more than 3,000 cases. This concept of reincarnation. So many books have been written on this reincarnation also. Few things, small things like phobias. You all have heard about this. Phobias come from past lives. Phobias like somebody have phobia from height, somebody have phobia from water, like that. Somebody have phobia from some uh, gadgets, like that. So phobias are related to our past life, related to the mode of death of the person whose life is being remembered. अगर आपकी मान लीजिए पानी में डूबकर मृत्यु हुई हो तो आपको पानी से बहुत ज्यादा डर लगेगा आपकी नेक्स्ट लाइफ में ना, इसको फोबिया कहते हैं। या फिर अगर आपकी डेथ इस तरह हुई हो तो आपको जो वेपन्स है उससे बहुत ही ज्यादा डर रहेगा। या फिर अगर आपकी मान लीजिए कुछ आर्म्स या फिर किसी ने आपको शूट किया हो प्रीवियस लाइफ में तो आपको उस तरीके से बहुत ज्यादा मतलब फोबिया रहेगा उसका। तो फोबियास मेनली कम फ्रॉम पास्ट लाइफ। सर कैन वी मूव अहेड? So anybody have any particular doubt or anything on this phobias? Any question on that particular concept? We'll be continuing it. Okay, fine. Phobia of exam. From where it comes from. Okay. Our Shivam sir has joined. So we'll be continuing. We'll be taking all your questions. So like we saw phobia, one concept. Second thing is like who are these two? These are twins. So these two twins, they have, like you all might know, that these twins appear from a same cell or one particular cell only. It fragments into two parts and then twins appears. But it is very difficult to understand that these two twins have different characteristics. Like Dr. Ian Stevenson have only told this. Now, how these different characteristics are there? Because there are different souls who have different characteristics or who are carrying different subtle bodies. Okay. This is a important concept, that subtle body and soul, how it transmigrates. That will be coming in one story. That I'll tell you. One important video. Shivam sir, I just request you to move this video a little faster that we can cover whatever is coming. But we'll see this video, important video. This is a video of a very interesting video of a pilot proving reincarnation.
They have the same name and boyish good looks. James M. Houston, raised in the Midwest. James M. Leininger, a young boy from the Bayou.
Whoa! There's something in the eyes. It's undeniable.
That's not all they share.
Somehow James Houston's spirit has affected my son, either through reincarnation. I don't know how it happened.
I can beat the Japanese easy as pie.
Initially, caught my attention was James's extreme fascination with airplanes.
And every night he slept with his G.I. Joe action figures, which he named.
I took him to the Cavanaugh Flight Museum.
Here's home video. While the other kids casually look at the plane, 2-year-old James seems to inspect it. Watch as he checks the underbelly, then climbs inside, donning the headset.
Top tank.
Bouncing about in the cockpit, James...
There was something wrong. It was a panic-stricken, terrorized screaming.
Over and over again, James had the same terrible nightmare, 4 to 5 times a week. He was too young to explain the dream.
Bombing ships, you see men parachuting. Here's another one where planes are dropping bombs.
Help me.
I thought Bruce and I were just going to faint.
They questioned, what kind of plane?
Corsair.
Why did your airplane crash?
My plane was shot down.
Who shot your plane?
He looked at me like I was a village idiot. He said,
the Japanese. I kept thinking, too.
Not exposed to in this life, but perhaps, just maybe, somebody else was. Decades earlier, James Houston grew up with the same insatiable fascination with airplanes. He became a naval fighter pilot and fought in World War II. March 3rd in 1945, during a mission near Iwo Jima, he took a direct hit. At age 21, was declared missing and presumed dead.
where did he take off from a boat?
Do you remember the name of your boat? He said Natoma.
Found several thousand hits on the word Natoma.
The USS Natoma Bay launched into battle, headed for Iwo Jima in the fight for Lady Gulf.
It's the biggest naval battle in the history of the world.
Leo Pyatt served on the ship. From his home in Ohio, he organizes the Natoma Bay reunions. That's how Bruce found him.
I wanted to disprove it.
He asked a few questions about, did I know some of the people? Oh, yeah, I remember those people. And so he got very quiet.
It was all real. The people and places James described actually existed. And remember those G.I. Joe dolls that James named? Turns out 3 men with the same names, first and last, served on the Natoma and were killed in action. James said they greeted him in heaven after his crash.
I'd always asked him, do you remember what your name was? And he always said James. But his name is James.
Yes, there was a Jim Houston, a rather large shell. Just hit him in the engine and it burst into flames and went down.
They showed Leo the drawings.
He was right on the nose. I'm sure, in my mind, that he was there.
Leo invited James, now 3, to the reunion. James recognized several pilots, even called them by name.
You're Bob Greenwald. I'm serious.
He never met Bob Greenwald?
No, he'd never met him before.
And someone else was invited. James Houston's sister, Ann.
And he goes, it's not Ann, it's Annie. She wasn't my oldest sister. I had an older sister than that. And I said, you did? Who was that? And he goes, Ruth. I mean Ruth.
Annie is what they called me when I was little. Knowing my name and my sister's name, things that my brother did when he was a kid. It's too amazing to describe how he would feel that way, but he does. He considers me his sister.
But does she consider James her brother?
I think it's probably a reincarnation of my brother.
Yeah, so even if you have not understood whatever little bit faster, you have moved that video intentionally because due to lack of little time. So this is a video of a person named James. So this little boy was able to recognize fully about his previous life. In that previous life, who was he? He was a pilot. And especially he survived in that World War II. Means he was skilled in that World War II. So he was able to recognize all his friends, that 3 G.I. Joes which was told in that video. So that he named precisely. And he was able to draw all those figures which you might have seen. So it is very precisely how he is able to draw. It means that soul have reincarnated in this body, or soul have moved into another body after his death. Okay, so these are some of the statements of a few famous scientists: Benjamin Franklin, then John Adams and Socrates. One I will read for you. Finding myself to exist in the world, I believe I shall in some shape on other always exist. Finding myself to exist in this world. Okay, just slide back. Benjamin Franklin says that. Then John Adams says, those souls who revolted against God were placed here to transmigrate through various species of animals, birds. Like, see, these scientists are saying this. Okay, next. These are very great scientists. who are telling about soul. Now, this is a case study like you saw about that pilot. That pilot was somewhat not from India. So now this is a case study of India. A girl named Shukla Gupta, who was remembering her past life. This is the story given. Uh, she was a little girl of 5 years old, and there were different around 4 or 5 family members she was having in a village called Bhatpara. I think it is in UP or Bihar somewhere, probably. So when they arrived, Shukla took the lead, and avoiding various possible wrong turns, she brought them straight to the house of Shri Amritalal Chakravarti, allegedly her father-in-law in her past life. So this Shukla was a small girl from a village. Now this Shukla was able to remember very precisely about her past life and how she recognized that in her past life she recognized her husband, her father-in-law, her mother-in-law, and her exactly she traced her house and where they used to keep various things and where was the different like nicknames as well she was able to remember of brother-in-laws. And this is a real story. It's not something which somebody have made, but these are all real stories. She indicated Shri Haridhar Chakravarti as her husband and all her relatives she found out. So this is an Indian example which also proves about reincarnation, that this Shukla have been reincarnated, the soul have transmigrated from her previous life to into this Shukla. So this is also one of the proof. 3 topics we have covered. Now the next thing, mechanism of reincarnation. Not a very difficult thing, very easy to understand. What happens to us at death? Soul leaves the previous body and goes to another body, like it is given in Bhagavad Gita 2.22. As a person puts on new dress, giving up the old one, soul similarly accepts another body, giving up the old one. Very simple thing to understand. Next. Like various quotations we have taken from Bhagavad Gita scriptures, mainly from Bhagavad Gita we have taken. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam chadante anta kalevanam. So this is the reason, means this is the uh, cause, how we, means what are the reasons or what are the factors which decides our next body, on what basis we get next body. Yes, you can move ahead. What is the translation? Wherever state of being, whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain. So mainly there are two things which decides our future or which decides our next body. What are those two things? First is your desires at the time of death, like it is said in this verse. And second is, it will come in this, desires in the mind. And second is your karma. What type of karma you had, either good or bad karma. That decides your next body. And if you'll have bad karma, you will get a lower species, like animals or somewhat like that. These are all easy to understand, not like, see, one example is given. A person who have a habit of exposing her body, a lady, so she will get a body of a tree in next life so that she can fulfill her desires. And her tree is always naked only. So as a person, as an individual, as a soul, we have a choice. Either we have to take an intelligent decision or a sinful decision. Activities, then there are 4 types of sinful activities. First is meat eating. Second, intoxication. Third, gambling. And fourth is illicit relation or illicit sex. These 4 are the pillars of sinful life. One should avoid these 4 things in order to live a pious life. Meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. no nothing to like, no much explanation is needed, but just little bit I'll like to brief that these four things actually, one who performs these four things, it destroys dharma. What is dharma? Dharma is actually our occupational duty. Now if one is doing all these four things, it is actually breaking the pillars of dharma. These four uh, sinful activities corresponds to four pillars of dharma, and they are broken. What are these four principles? First one is austerity. Then second one is, now these all things are means related to what are the constituents of your pious life. है ना? So some of the examples are given: austerity, sacrifice. Like we saw sinful life, so now we are seeing pious life. Association of saintly people, reading scriptures. These are all the examples of pious living. Okay, yes, we can move ahead, sir. Okay, so till now, are you feeling interested? I know it's a little bit bigger presentation, but we are giving so many examples so that later on you can just we are having only 5-6 main points, but just to prove that we are taking so many examples, so that whenever later on you want to refer these things, or you want, so that at least in your mind you will be convinced about existence of soul, what are the characteristics of soul, what are all these reincarnations, does soul really exist. Now the next topic, or our fifth topic, I guess, is what are the difference between soul and God. As I told you, this was one of our objective learning this session. Next. Now, is there a difference between soul and what is the concept of God? Little bit things you have learned in the 3 device sessions. Just a little bit more detail will go in this particular presentation. Difference between soul and God. We are not gods, but we are gods. है ना? हम भगवान नहीं हैं, लेकिन हम भगवान के हैं. Very important thing. You can write this proverb in your notebooks. I am tiny Jiva, not the ultimate God, but a tiny part and parcel servant of God. Okay, just examples are given. Krishna is my Lord, the Lord of all existence. This we have taken from scriptures, mainly Bhagavad Gita. Okay, next. I am the only Brahma, but Krishna is Para Brahma. My power is limited, his potencies are unlimited. And this is the difference between our soul and God. I can make a swimming pool, God can make oceans. I can fly a rocket, but Lord can make these whole huge planets, so massive planets fly. This is the difference between a soul and God. I can invent a dome light, but God can create moonlight. We make ordinary dolls, but Lord has made us all. So this was what the difference between God and us. Lord is the actual doer. I am just an imitator. A very interesting story I had, but that we'll see sometime later. Story of a farmer and God. God deserves all love and our service. We are just a particle or part and parcel, tiny jiva in this oceanic material world. Sir, can we move to the last topic? Just a brief I'll give and then we can end. Practical benefits of knowledge of soul in everyday life. So this you all more or less we have discussed. Just brief synopsis. Acquiring divine assets. We saw many divine or pious qualities and freedom from demonic nature. Next, freedom from lamentation, illusion, and fear. When you realize that you are soul, there will be no lamentation or illusion and fear. Like in this story, he was about to commit suicide, but now he is having a ray of hope that okay, I failed in one paper, but I need to take someone's help. So this is the difference in consciousness which comes after knowing about soul. Universal brotherhood. Even if we might be from other countries, some other countries like white, black, it doesn't matter. But we are all spirit souls. So there will be universal brotherhood. What divides us, all these things, but what unites us is soul. Positive will have a positive outlook towards life after knowing about soul. Will when we know that we are soul, we'll try to feed it. And how we can feed it? Through meditations. Meditation brings peace, happiness, and prosperity in our life. General things, but important. Right use of resources you will do. Instead of spending money in foolish things, you will be spending money for some things which will be helpful for the nation or helpful for the living entities. He's using money for cows, for protection of cows. Finally, you will be happy like this after knowing the knowledge of soul. So these 6 are the practical benefits. So thank you all so much. Mm, Uh, I ask forgiveness if to the coordinators little bit more time I took. So, and thank you Shivam sir for coordinating for this PPT. And now, if coordinators permit, we can take a few questions. Otherwise, we can move ahead.
Okay. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, you are audible to at least me, but little bit uh, lag is there. Your voice is not clear. Sumit, you can speak. Mute yourself. Okay, somebody is asking, can you redefine OBE? I will
There
only
are some
redefine.
announcements.
Okay, yes, you can just do that.
Harish sir?
Yes, sir.
There is question in chat box. So one of the question which repeated 2-3 times is, in the person who do not have like memories of past life or phobia, so why is that like that?
Okay, if a person is not having any phobia, is the question?
Yes, a phobia or remembrance of past life, both.
Okay, see, it is not like that everybody will be having that thing. Now, generally means 99% of the cases, you will not be remembering your past life. Why? Because this is the arrangement of nature or God, that if you will be remembering your past life every time, then you will not be able to live presently, in present. So 99% of the cases or 99.9% of the cases, people don't remember their past life. But only a few cases, it precisely it happens. Why? Because those people were very much attached to their previous relatives or house or locality, somewhat like that. So that's why they are able to remember in their next life also those things. So those impressions got fixed in their subtle body, mind mainly. So that's why those impressions were carried to the next body also. So when one soul transmigrates, soul along with subtle body, these two things transmigrates to another body. So that subtle body is carrying the impressions of first life. Now it is going to second life, and only those people who were very much attached to their previous life, they only will be able to remember their previous life. Otherwise, in normal cases, it doesn't happen. Why? Because otherwise you will not be able to live in present. See, you just realize that if you remember that in past life you might have somebody have killed you, so in this life you will always be disturbed that in past life he killed me, so in this life I have to kill him. So that's why Lord, actually it's an arrangement of God that he erases our past life. Yes, but only a few people that I told you who were very much attached like that to their previous life, they are able to remember. Is this answer clear?
Okay, thank you everyone. Sir, am I audible now clearly?
Ha, you are audible.
Okay, so there are few announcements like we have a device, common device session after all the device we covered. Day after tomorrow on 22 of this month, there will be last device, fifth device. So after that, we have a common device test. So for that, those who haven't attended, who can attend on the YouTube, our YouTube channel. That will be in, link will be in the group. Okay, so thank you everyone for the joining the session. And if you have any further queries, so you can ask in the feedback form that will be on the group. And you can also attend the quiz that will be on group itself. And and I told that next session will be on 22. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Harsh sir for a wonderful association and for this device session for all of us.
Yeah. Thank you, Sumit, and all who joined, who tolerated for 1 hour. Thank you.